Audio.etc is proudly supported by Auto Sound and Security.
That looks good. Good morning guys, how's it going? James here from Audio.etc, continuing on the Audi today. One thing I kind of really want to get done before I continue on with that subwoofer mounting attempt, I really want to get the head unit in the stereo. No, not in the stereo. Head unit in the dash, because at the moment really the only things I've actually fully gotten done are the front speakers. So what I need to do for that is wire up power to the camera power supply up there. I need to have the RCA sticking out of there and a remote wire for the amp, and I also need to do a reverse wire since the CAN bus interface didn't work, which was really annoying, but what can you do? So what I'm going to do, I've actually since decided I think I'm going to have the amp over on this side of the car, on the right hand side, because this bracket was mounted up there with the factory amplifier for the rear speakers and the subwoofer in there. So I'm either going to just stick the amp right on that rack as usual, as factory, and it'll be pretty much well out of, like, not on display or anything like that. Either that, or depending on how much time I get, maybe I can work out some way to have it looking all pretty on this wall somewhere, or like showing through the grill. I'm not sure, but I think I'm gonna put it on the right hand side now. So what I need to do then is have my Focal ER5 RCAs loomed up and sticking out of the head unit hole, probably just dropping down into the driver's footwell where I can start running them when I get a chance. And then I need to do a reverse wire and remote wire. But as I said a couple of videos ago, instead of doing those separately, since now I know that I need a reverse wire as well, I'm just going to run a big long piece of speaker wire, and one side can be the reverse and one side can be the remote for the amp. Yeah, so that's what I'll do. So here's the Focal ER5s. These are really decent RCAs. I just need to loom these all together. And the heads on these are awesome, by the way. Look at those. Those are beautiful. Loomed the whole way along. Now I just have to find a way to run these along the car, but all I'm really going to do today is stick them through the hole. That's weird. These ones are all the same length at this end, but at this end one of them is shorter. That's very weird, because these are pretty well straight the whole way along. Weird. Must be a manufacturing defect or something like that. Might plug this end into the head unit end, because the head unit's RCAs are actually on these plugs, because we got front and rear at the same length, and then, oh wait, subwoofer, no, that's on it. You know, maybe I'll put the short ones into there or something. No, I'll figure it out, but I think I will put this one at the head unit end and the other one's at the amp end, because those all come out the exact same length. Okay, so that's those. Now I need to do a big long piece of wire for remote and reverse. There we go, I found a piece long enough. I think I'll just quickly add this to the loom on this end, and that can get soldered to the connections. So I didn't loom this wire into it, because I do want to run it a different way than I run the RCAs, just to keep the any power lines away from the speaker channel RCAs if possible. Obviously, like, I'll put this probably with the same direction as the main power wire. Okay, now I can poke this out of the hole. There we go. This gets all bundled up on this side of the car. So now, one of these wires to remote and one to reverse. And I also need to put power on this red wire for the reverse camera, and then that's it. Okay, I think that's everything now. Got my camera, my microphone, my USB, my aerial, my main harness, my RCAs, my reverse, and my remote wire. I think that's everything. I think I could put the head unit in now. USB goes in USB 1 because he's got an iPhone and that's where CarPlay works. USB 1, it goes in there. Camera goes in that one. Microphone goes there. Aerial goes. Hopefully I can get all this in the hole. Not that one. I think I should probably put some tape around these things. This is more just to like insulate the exposed shield of this rather than to hold them together. To hold them together, I'm relying on the quality of the connections, which on these Foco RCAs is pretty good. Alright, now I have to get it all in the hole. See if I can just push it all back in. Should actually get sound out of the front speakers because they'll still be connected. Yep.
Hardly not, Jane.
Yeah, that's all good.
Check was $150.
If I can get this in.
Now just $89. European vehicles save $100. Now just $150.
Cool, I think that's all good. Head unit is in. Got all my wiring connected. Actually, I can check and see if the camera works. New image.
If you'd like to know more about
Why is there no image?
20 minutes later.
I got the camera going. It was the connection where the negative wire or the earth wire at the camera voltage reducer was done. It was on a good ground. It's just I always forget that these cameras come with really thin little power wires on them, and I always forget that the crimps that we have for whatever reason, because I think the wire is so thin and maybe a bit cheap, it doesn't really make a good conductive connection between the crimp metal and the actual wire. So either I have to solder the wire to the crimp for it to work, or I have to solder the wire onto a negative wire. But just putting a crimp on its own doesn't work. So I fixed it. I ended up soldering on a new crimp, and that got it going, which is good because I cannot for the life of me get this stereo back out of here. This thing is in there now. This kit is locked in place. I can't get it back out. So yeah, it's a good thing I don't have to. I hope I don't have to take it back out because this thing is in here now. So now that that's in and the wires and everything is connected to the head unit, I don't have to worry about it. I can probably resume what I was doing with the subwoofer. Yeah. Okay guys, so where it left off yesterday with the subwoofer mounting, I got halted because of time and it was being tricky. So I managed to get this fitting pretty much perfectly, like it fits around the metal lip up there, but this is hitting on these two welded in nuts. And rather than try and get them off, because I want this to sit right up flat against the dynamat, rather than trying to get these off, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to countersink down into here to allow space for these to sit into. So yesterday I already marked whereabouts they meet up on the wood, so I know where to go. I've got a drill bit here which will just slowly take out a hole deep enough for these to sit into. And I'll probably, when I put this up here, I'll probably use some foam tape. I thought about, because like this dynamite, it's kind of set now, so it's gone all hard again, like even these wrinkles I can't even really push down with my fingers. So what I'll probably do to kind of soften the connection between this and this, since this isn't a perfectly uniform surface, is I'll use some foam tape around here, probably on the wood actually, and that will just bridge the connection and seal it a wee bit and prevent a little bit of vibration. But so yeah, what I need to do now is drill these holes deep enough for these to sit through. Yeah. So I brought in from home one of my drill bit sets, since we don't have any of these type of drill bits here at work. These are the wood hole cutting style ones, you know, these. So I just need to find, yep, that's going to be the one there, I think, 13mm. It looks like it will cut a hole. Ooh, actually it might need to be a tiny bit bigger. My next one up's huge though. Don't really want to go up to a 16, although it'll probably be good. Yeah, I think it's going to have to be the 16. So I need to use this and drill down. I need to measure how far down I need to go. Looks like if I just went to the very start of this hole, which is in the drill bit, it would be deep enough. I think that's what I'll do. Okay. I'll probably just use the drill press, that'll do the best job. so now it's made a nice little recessed section for the nut to sit in. That worked pretty well. I don't think I've ever used these hole cutting bits before, so they'll be nice and sharp at least. There we go. Let's go check and see if this fit. What's the bet they're way off in alignment? Probably not gonna line up, because this car is obviously Murphy's Law joke to me where nothing seems to work, but we'll have a go. Oh, I think they lined up. Oh yes, they did. Look at that. Now it sits right up there. Mean. Sweet as, bro. So what I need to do now is drop this even lower. I mean, like, add another layer onto it, because even this one piece of wood alone isn't deep enough to get the subwoofer on there, because the subwoofer is going to come out to this circle that this line you can see here, and then it's just going to hit the metal. So I need to come down another, it looks like maybe 12 millimeters. Oy, that's quite deep. So I'm going to have to sit quite low, but I suppose that'll give the membrane plenty of room to fire. Okay, so what I got here is a selection of different thicknesses of wood. Here's a piece of, looks like 6mm. Let's look and see. No, 6mm wouldn't do it. 9mm. Ooh, 9mm is pretty close. Oh man, it's so close. I think it is going to have to be 12mm. Here's a piece of 12mm. Yep, 12mm looks like. Even that is like is a bit close, is a bit sketchy, but 12mm is what it's going to have to be. Okay, so I need to get a piece of 12mm, put it to the bottom of here, trace it with the flush trim ratter a bit, but I'm not going to copy this section. I'm going to try and measure and get this section a bit better, but all of this is going to copy the shape. So the question is now, the question now is how much of this edge do I take off? Because I can't just go whacking it on yet, because I need to know how much of that I need to take off. Well, this plane that I cut was pretty on par, so I could probably just follow that through this thing. Okay, so the question now, I've done some carving on this, so this is pretty much matching the plane of this bar. It goes on, but this surface here and that are pretty much level, but this one is still slightly higher. But I wonder if it's close enough to get the sub up there. Because if I go like this, well, I think it would be good, because if I go like this, the membrane hits the side of the wood before that metal actually hits the frame, so that's good. I think I've done it. I think it's worked. Man, she hangs down low, but we shall see. Who knows, maybe the guy will be like, oh, that's too low, I need my trunk space, put it in a box. but he'll still have to pay for the labour I've done on this because he asked for it. We shall see. But that's good. I think I've got my under baffle made up now. I do need to... Okay guys, so yeah, like I said, the good news is, looks like I've got this under baffle made up. What I do need to do is, I want to round these corners a wee bit to kind of match that shape. I'll just do it freehand, we'll see what it turns out like. But the next step is probably to try and figure out how I want to secure this to the metal. Because this is only going to really get secured in the corners, because, oh, and maybe here. But there's definitely not enough width for any screws to go through the sides here or the top. So maybe one, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts or something. Oops, wrong way. Depends what I can put through the side of this woofer as well. I bet it only takes 5 mils. Oh, you know what? I bet this one will line up way out here anyway. Oh, we don't know. I don't know. I need to I think put the woofer on here, mark some holes out and start doing some drilling through and see where it comes out. There we go. Bolted together. I can probably take these screws out now, because I may end up using these holes. So she's glued and pinned together. Next step for this thing will be getting painted. Might give this thing a quick sanding on the top layer actually, since I'm going to paint it. There we go, good enough. Doesn't have to be perfect, it was just enough to get the majority of the paint, or the glossy section of the paint, off the top, so that, you know, my new spray coat does adhere to it. Cool, so not much to go before paint now, just need a wee bit of sanding on the edges. Okay, that's pretty much good to go. Oh wait, did I do this? I'm using primer on this because unlike a lot of the other things that I build with MDF, this is going to be fully on display. So I do want it to, the paint finish to look, you know, a wee bit good. Okay guys, moving ahead, I've put a 1 or 2 coats on the primer on the donut. Ow, 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 ow. Ow, that fucking latch point there keeps hurting my leg. Anyway, so it's painted, and I've also made this piece which sits up here, and this piece which sits up here. I didn't make a full circle because there'd be no point in being a tiny thin bit of wood just there, so I just made two like corners, and rather than making 4 separate corners where they could spin, I joined them horizontally because there was enough width there for that to allow for that. So what I need to do at this point is put this up into position. Oh, and I also took the Dynamat off of this surface and that surface per Grant's recommendation, because Dynamat can like squish over time, and we don't want it to, like, you know, the tension between all these things to become loose or less over time. We want it to stay nice and tight. So this is going to allow it to sit up nice and high up there. What I need to do now is I'm going to drill through these holes just to mark the metal where some bolts are going to be. 100% in position. Yep, and now just whoops. Right, so what's going to happen is, so you saw earlier when I did that time lapse, I did a whole bunch of drill pressing onto this thing. So these 4 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, they go all the way through to the other side, and then the other 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 8, 9, 10, 11, sorry, they don't go all the way through, they just go almost all the way through, so they're basically like drilled for some screws. So what's going to happen is the 11 ones that don't go all the way through, they're going to get some big hunky sort of 10 gauge PK or self-tapping screws put in them. That's going to hold the subwoofer to this baffle. Also, in the 4 corner ones, I'm going to put some M5 bolts all the way through the subwoofer, through this, through the metal, and through the top sandwich, through the top piece. Yeah, and that's going to hold it all together and create the sandwich. The yummy wooden and metal and subwoofer sandwich. It's making me hungry. I haven't had lunch. So now that I've got these drilled, I can expand these holes and these holes out to 5mm ones, and you'll see when I show you guys, but the subwoofer actually has pre-tapped holes for M5s in these locations, because that's normally where, so these screw holes here are normally where the little grill cover, like the trim piece for the subwoofer that we're not using, that's normally where the screws that hold that on, or the bolts that hold that on, normally thread into, but we're not using them. I'm still not sure if I want to. What I might also do, I'll use those 4 bolts, but then I think I'll also put a PK screw through the wood, through this wood, through the metal, and into here, lining up with these holes that I've made here. In fact, I could probably pre-drill those. Probably could actually, I might do that. But the PK won't go all the way through. So it'll just be 4 bolts, and then the rest of it will be PK screws. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay. And those other ones will go into these screws holes that I originally made for when I was building the thing. Okay, let's do that. Off kilter, I might just for the time being put some long PKs through these just to hold it up there while I drill these holes out. Hold on a second. Okay, let's see if I can get this up. All the screw holes should line up, but then again, it is me. Okay, good. Good. One. And that one. Sweet. So now what I can do, I'm thinking now maybe instead I will actually put the screws from underneath. It'll be mostly PK screws, but I'll have those 4 bolts there just as like a backup. Not a backup, but just like extra strength. Good to have some bolts in the system, because bolts can't, you know, slowly wriggle undone from vibrations the way PKs can. So what I can do now is I'm going to drill all the way through the middle. Four, cool. I wonder if I can also make some marks on these boards. So if I that's in position, and now I just push down here. That's going to give me where those screws are going to go through, or the bolts actually. And I wonder if I can also mark whereabouts this lines up. One. Oh man, that one wound up right on the edge of the wood. Okay, that's that one. Okay, so now what I need to do is drill this one and this one all the way through, and that one almost all the way through, and then on this one that and that all the way through, that one almost all the way through, and I might redo something about that. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I can do the holes on these now, and then after that, that'll be the next step done. It's coming together though. It's finally starting to make some progress. Does the subwoofer still fit up here, I wonder? So this is going to go right up there. Oh yeah, I think we're still good. That just clears up there, only just by a hair of a whisker. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 holes. And I do need to make some 5mm ones, so let's do that. I'm going to go for a 5.5mm because when I'm dealing with bolts and nuts, I like to have a wee bit of space in the hole, just so that it's not like, so that there's a wee bit of wiggle room, you know. I'm actually glad I took that dynamite off now. If I'd have been drilling on that, it would have been so gooey and yuck. It would have been all over the place. Right, it's those. Now I need to make some of these at 5mm, don't I? Let's go do that. These ones I do need to pre-drill first though. Anything more I need to do to this piece. I wonder if some fine sandpaper would smooth that out. Probably would. Get that wet. Got that wetness going. That wet. Right, there we go. Dry away. I want to do another coat around the outside as well, because that is the side that will be seen. Here we go. Oh, I suppose I should do the old upside down. There we go. Declog. Right, that's going to dry. It'll probably be dry in 10 minutes, but I'm going to go have my lunch now. 2:22, and I'm hungry.
Many months later.
Okay guys, jumping ahead, made some decent headway. Now, we've actually got the subwoofer pretty much mounted to its hanging baffle, and these are the two pieces that are going to go on top of the tray. I've basically been test fitting it. So I've got myself 4 70mm M5 bolts, and these actually go through all of this wood and then thread into the subwoofer, because there is a tapped section that I was talking about. There they are, just there. I know this doesn't have macro, but those holes there are actually tapped for an M5 bolt. So that's basically what's going to be holding it all together, and then there's these 11 big screws here, which are going to go through all those other holes at the bottom, which you'll see in a minute. And I have got some washers over here, which I just gave a quick coat of black to, because I think it's going to look better in black than silver, but I can probably put those on now actually. So yeah, I can, since I've got this all good, I can put these screws in now. Okay. Ooh, 450. No, am I going to get it on the tray today? Don't know. I want to. If I really hurry. Oh, and sorry, it's a bit hard to tell, but I put a layer of foam tape in between the woofer and the first wooden baffle there to kind of just soften the connection between the two. If I work fast, there's 4:50, supposed to be closing at 5. If I work like magic, I can possibly get this all done tonight. I really want to get this on the tray tonight. That's my goal. That would be ideal. So a washer under each of these screws, which I can... Actually, I don't want it in that far. I just want them in a wee bit, because I feel like getting the bolts back in when it comes time to do it is going to be tricky, and I want these to not be uptight. So I was originally going to have these bolts going up from the underside of the woofer through everything, and then a washer and a nylock nut up here inside the tray, but unfortunately they don't make these bolts with the thread going all the way through, which means I can't put that up through the threaded part of the woofer, so it's going to have to go down this way. So what I need to do now is probably put some... Do I want to put foam tape here? A real thin layer, I think. Yep. This is ready to go in the car. Okay. I'm determined to get this on the tray tonight. Determined. I'm running on my second coffee. Okay. Just need to do some quick solder jabs. Okay, can I do it? These ones go up here like this. Make sure I get these the right way up. That goes that way. This one does go this way. Okay. Let's do it. Let's get this in here. So, this one goes through here, like that, and through here, if any of these holes line up, of course, like that. These do have washers on them, that one and that one. Okay, now getting the woofer up and in line with those things is going to be the fun part, real fun. Holes. Oh, I think these might actually be threading in. I can't tell though. That one is. I think that one is. This one, I think is. And this one, I can't tell if that's... Is this the one that's just going to spin? That one's just spinning as well. Okay. I need to lie underneath here and have a look. This was going to be hard. It's just this one screw, this one bolt in the corner, which is off. Wonder if doing up the other ones will help. I feel like all the PK screws are probably the things making it difficult. Oh, I think it might be going in. Yep. So I guess these bolts were kind of like the thing that hold it to the tray, hold it all together, but rather than putting all of the weight of the whole subwoofer on just these 4 threads, I'm also using the other 11 big fat PK screws to secure it to the wooden baffle that's under here. And these 17mm bolts are exactly the perfect length. Fuck, because I can do these up to the exact tightness. That's that done up. Now I can do the underside. Most of the PK screws are still in, just not all these ones. That one, and then there's still the 4 other bolts or screws or whatever I'm going to do that are going to go in these 4 corners to hold the to hold the 2 bits of wood together. So the woofer is going to be very well secured to the wood, obviously with 11 PKs in it. and then that bit of wood is going to be very well secured to the metal and the other bit of wood with the 4 PKs around the outside and the 4 bolts. Is that all of them? I think there's one more. This one here. And after this I can use the drill. Ah, there we go guys, the subwoofer is in! Mounted. Looks good from up here. Plenty of room for the woofer to move in there as well, because I was worried about the membrane and hitting the wood or the metal or anything like that, but no, it's way out of the way. Feels pretty well mounted to me. Still got to do 4 bolts through here and into the wood or something like that. I'm wondering what ones I could use. If I've got any more of these type, that'd be ideal. Wonder if I've got any. We'll have a look. I'll put this Phillips in and see how much depth I've actually got to work with. About there. Okay, so I need, oh okay, actually pretty much perfect for these ones then. Okay, maybe I'll just use these Phillips ones since they're the exact right length anyway. Oh well, these ones are actually even shorter. Oh no, they're about right. Oh, if I had some of those it'd be so good. But now I'm just going to use these Phillips ones that I've got with the washers, but if I could find, like if I could either go to Black's tomorrow and get 3 more of those, that would be ideal. So these are only like 8 gauge screws. I would prefer to use 10 gauge ones. Last one, washer. These washers actually painted pretty well. I thought the paint might just chip off, but the simple black paint stays on them pretty well. Done. Anything sticking out the top? No, they didn't even break through the top surface. Mean. So there we go guys. Today's goal achieved. Get the subwoofer mounted. So just to reiterate, so you guys have no concerns. From the top you can see these 2 bits of wood with these 4 M5 bolts. They go through this wood, through the metal, through this piece of 30mm wood, considering now there's a piece of 18 and 12 there, through the 30mm wood, and thread into those holes there that you can now see, because those are tapped, like that, pre-tapped for the M5 bolts. So there's 4 of those, and then there is 11 of these 10 gauge screws securing the subwoofer to the 30mm bit of wood, 11 of them. The only one that's not there is here, because here it lines up with pretty much no wood whatsoever, and the metal there is on an angle, so I just haven't put one there. And then there's also these 4, what are they, 2-inch 8 gauge screws that go through the 30mm bit of wood, through the metal, and into these bits of wood up here. So very, very well secured. I don't think it's going anywhere. Let's have it. And there's fortunately lots of room for membrane flex up here. That 12mm definitely added a lot more, because with just the 18mm on its own, it was pretty close to the rim of the wood or the metal or whatever. But that's heaps of room to flex there. It's definitely not going to hit that. Looks good. I'm very, very happy with how that actually turned out. That looks good. Very happy, and it's pretty well sealed up as well. The only gaps there are, you can see there where the gaps in the metal are. Those are the only gaps from up here to down here. Just tiny little air gaps around the side of the woofer. Very hard to see. Awesome, I did it. First time ever I've mounted a heavy power aftermarket subwoofer to a parcel tray. I have done 8-inch ones in Ford Falcons before, but this is the first subwoofer bigger than an 8-inch that I've mounted to a parcel tray. Let's see what it looks like from outside. From around here, that is not that intruding. He's still got almost enough room for this lamp to go up vertically. It does hang down lower than I had earlier anticipated. I thought I'd be able to do it with just 18mm, but I had to up it to 30 because the ring, the basket of the, not the basket, what do you call this, outside ring of the subwoofer was going to be hitting on that metal over there to get it centered, but that's pretty good. When you're standing up here, you can only barely just see like a tiny amount of it, and then down here you can see it. That looks good. Looks pretty powerful as well. I like it. Looks like a mean piece of machinery. There you go, guys. That's going to be today's video. It's 5:20. I stayed late because I wanted to get that done. Let me know what you guys think of it. Is it going to fail? Is it going to fall off? I don't think it's going to fall off. Let me know what you guys think of the way I've done this. It's going to stay like that. I believe it's going to stay like that. I don't think it's going to get changed unless the customer says it's not putting out as much bass as he wants, in which case, yep, it's going to have to go in a box. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think of it. Tomorrow, Friday, I'm going to start running some wires for the amp. Oh, and speaking of the amp, I did speak to the customer, and it sounds like I'm going to be putting the 5-channel amp in the factory amplifier location on this bracket, which was sitting just up there. It's going to be out of the way and you won't be able to get to the tuning controls, but theoretically I should be able to tune it once, it'll be set, and then you shouldn't have to go back to the adjustments after at all. And he said he doesn't mind if the controls are like hidden away, like, because he's not going to be touching it. He says he just wants it to be tuned right the first time. So I'll probably end up doing that, but depending on if I come up with any ingenious ideas, maybe I'll put it on display like here with his venters or in there, I'm not sure. If you guys have any ideas for me, let me know. If you've ever worked on one of these cars and you found a good way to mount the amp, let me know. Also, thank you to John Lewis, my newest Patreon supporter. Thank you so much for the support, bro. If any of you guys want to support me on Patreon, the link is in the first line of the description. You can get your name in the credits, or you can, if you've got a car that you want me to show off on my channel with a system in it, I'm happy to do that. That's like, one of the benefits of supporting me. The link is in the description and at the end of this video. Also, check out my Facebook page because I put all the photos I took of the Corvette and a couple of other things recently up there as well. But yeah, that's that. Thanks for watching today's video, guys. Choose to be happy, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Kite Ano.